Good afternoon, everyone. We will go ahead and get started. Thank you for joining us here for this important and exciting program that we have this afternoon on how Virginia's universities and community colleges are expanding and investing in tech talent development. I wanted to just go over today's agenda briefly. We'll get a word from our sponsor, which is Virginia Natural Gas. I'll give you a brief update on what's happening at RVA 757 Connects. Then we'll dive into our topic today. We'll leave a little bit of time at the very end for some questions, and then I'll tell you about what's coming up next month. So just as a reminder, we are recording this session, and all of our Innovation Spotlight recordings are on our website, so you'll be able to get to those. And also, if you have any questions, use the chat feature so you'll be able to ask your questions towards the very end. RVA 757 Connects is a nonprofit organization, so we rely on donations for our operations. One of our corporate sponsors is Virginia Natural Gas, who is sponsoring today's webinar. With us today is Robert Duvall, who is the company president at Virginia Natural Gas. In his role as president, Robert oversees the safe and reliable delivery of natural gas to over 310,000 customers in southeastern Virginia. In addition, he serves as senior vice president of the Southern Company Gas and is a member of the Southern Company Gas Management Council. Southern Company Gas is the subsidiary of Southern Company and the parent company of Virginia Natural Gas. Before assuming his current position, Robert served as the senior vice president for customer operations, safety, and technical training for the Southern Company Gas. In 2020, he returned to Virginia, where he served as president from 2014 to 2016. Robert serves on numerous charitable boards and civic boards, including RVA 757 Connects. So Robert, I'm going to stop sharing and I'll let you take it away.
Yeah, thank you, Greg. Appreciate that. And I like to say I'm back to Virginia for my second term as president. So really happy to be back in the Commonwealth. But just thank you for this opportunity to have the spotlight. And as many of you may know, actually, Virginia Natural Gas is one of the region's oldest continuously operating businesses. We were chartered in 1850 to light the streets of Norfolk. And so it's been our privilege to work in and serve and grow with our region over the last 173 years. Today, we deliver clean, safe, reliable, and affordable natural gas, as Greg mentioned, to over 300,000 customers. And our service areas from Suffolk to Virginia Beach and all the way up to I-64 corridor, all the way to Hanover County. And look, we believe that we're more than an energy delivery company. At heart, we strive to be a citizen wherever we serve. And, that means for our company and our employees that we give back to our communities and that we have the privilege to live and work in. And for example, last year, we were able to provide over $2 million in sponsorships and grants and donations to our community partners. And those partners range from the Salvation Army to the Nature Conservancy to a ministry called Garden of Hope. And that ministry is one that, if you haven't heard about it, they help formerly incarcerated individuals integrate back into their families and into their communities. So we're proud to be a partner of theirs. And look, our employees can be seen across the RVA 757 footprint, giving back everything from, plunging into the icy Atlantic for the Special Olympics polar plunge to serving meals at a local shelter, and many other volunteer opportunities. So we're proud of our history here, and we're more excited about our future here. And I'm happy to tell you we've already done a lot around for our future and for the future of this area, particularly around lowering our methane emissions. And we've been able to achieve a 31% reduction since 2012. And through innovative solutions, we're poised to continue to serve and grow in this region as we work along our pathway to deliver carbon neutral fuel by 2050. So Greg and RVA 757, really thank you for the opportunity to have this spotlight and on our company, and look forward to today's discussion. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Robert. Really appreciate it. And thank you for your support to RVA 757 Connects. So let me tell you a little bit about what's going on in RVA 757 Connects. For those of you who may not know, Our mantra as an organization is to bring the power of convening, connecting, and collaborating to the RVA 757 mega region, as we call it. We're a nonprofit organization dedicated to improving the economic success and quality of life for everybody in the Richmond, which we call RVA, the Richmond area, and the Hampton Roads region, which is 757. We're a network of leaders representing businesses, community, and higher education, and we're advancing that Richmond to Hampton Roads mega region, as we call the I-64 Innovation Corridor. We just recently gave our website a complete makeover, and we relaunched the website. It's designed to focus on our 4 key major initiatives: the Global Internet Hub, the I-64 Gap, the bike walk trails, and passenger rails. You can see them right there on our newly redesigned website. Also on the homepage, we also feature our Virtual Innovation Spotlight series. You can go on there. The one for next month is already on there. And you can also see where we have the current and most recent webinar featured there as well. If you go click a little bit further at the very top of the webinar, or the website, I should say, you'll see that we have virtual innovation spotlights for 2023 and 2022. So you can see the ones that we've had so far this year, and you can see the ones such as this one here, and which was last month's, and you can click on that one, and you can, when you click on it, you can see that there is a link for our a recording that we had from that webinar. So if you didn't have a chance, or you want to go back and review, you can always look at that, or any of the other ones that are available as well. These are the ones that we did back in 2022. They're all there. All of them have recordings on them as well. So you have a chance to take a look at it. So another one of our priorities that we're spearheading is the efforts here in the Richmond and Hampton Roads mega regions to get that area designated as a global internet hub. But we needed a strategic plan to make this happen. And we are in the planning, ending that planning process, which started last year. We're ending that up now. We started it back last year. We created a steering committee with more than 60 members who've been meeting since July, and we hired some consultants. Here we met back on February 28th at the CarMax Innovation Center here in Richmond to go over the plan. And then a month earlier in January, we met at the Meta Facebook data center in Eastern Henrico County. And we also created a project website. So if you want to see anything about what we're doing or anything about the Global Internet Hub, you can go to the website at globalinternethub.org. And so we are on our way of becoming a global internet hub. And the journey started back in 2012 when Hurricane Sandy caused so much destruction to the New York coastline that it prompted the development of a third East Coast landing site. And then in 2018, the first one, the Maria cable, brought the first ultra high-speed fiber optics from Bilbao, Spain to Virginia Beach. Since then, there are now 3 subsea cables that land in Virginia Beach, another one from Europe and one from South America. And then they land in, those cables go all the way up Interstate 64 and Route 60 to Eastern Henrico County, where it lands in 2 data centers. One, the Facebook Meta data center in Eastern Henrico County, which has it's a 2.5 million square foot data center. And then right next door is the QTS Richmond data center, which is the world's 4th largest data center. And that data center is expanding right now, nearly doubling its size. Also in Richmond, we have the capability of, we're part of the internet infrastructure location for DECIX, which is a data central neutral internet exchange point here in the Richmond region. DECIX established 3 locations in the Richmond area, 2 in Henrico and 1 in Hanover. And as the DECIX also operates similar exchange points in only 4 other US markets, New York, Dallas, Chicago, and Phoenix. We expect to have our strategic plan pretty much wrapped up later this month or early in May. So keep a lookout for that. There are several reasons why having a regional digital infrastructure matters for the I-64 Innovation Corridor. And one of it is because John Martin, our CEO, always talks about how becoming a global internet hub will do much more for the Richmond and Hampton Roads economy than and quality of life in this 21st century than the construction of Interstate 64 and Interstate 95 did for the region during the 20th century. But it's, you know, having a global internet hub supports existing jobs and also will hopefully push for more jobs. That's what we're going to be talking about a little bit later on today. If you look in the next decade, or from 2021 to 2031, look at the fastest growing jobs. Two of them are data scientists and information security analysts. They're going up, you know, by 36% for data scientists, and information security analysts are going up by 35%. And look at the median pay range for those things. The United States figures that we're going to need the growth of this whole digital infrastructure will continue to, the jobs will continue to growing. The Bureau of Labor Statistics projects that the U.S. will need 2.285 million software and web developers, programmers, and testers, and with 1.7 million software developers. But the Richmond region continues to lag in the Richmond and Hampton Roads region. Virginia Beach, Norfolk MSAs continue to lag in digital and national averages in terms of growth rate in some of the most promising trade sector occupations. So here's some of the trade sectors that we looked at, these high-tech jobs that were identified by the Greater Richmond Partnership. And we looked at different regions throughout the United States. These regions were identified by the Greater Richmond Partnership, the Hampton Roads Alliance, as being the major competitive regions. But look, this slide is very telling. The national average in those key job categories is 6.4%. That's what it's growing, a 10-year average growth. In the mature digital infrastructures like the Denvers and the Dallas and Atlantas of the world, it's growing at an average of 7.6%. In our direct competitor areas like, you know, Charlotte and Raleigh and Orlando and Jacksonville, places like that, it's growing at 7.3%. But at the bottom, you'll see where Richmond and the Virginia Beach, Norfolk area, only 4.6 and 4.1%. So we're lagging in growth. And so if the Richmond and Virginia Beach, Norfolk MSAs were able to increase the digital infrastructure jobs at the rate of just that national average, which is 6.4%, the mega region will increase its digital infrastructure employment by 43,000 jobs, or 86% growth in current jobs. And then if you look at increasing the infrastructure at the highest rate of the direct competitors, which is at 8.2%, we could be growing our jobs in the region by adding 60,000 plus jobs, or 120% growth rate. So changing the growth trajectory requires an intentional and rebalancing of industries, complementing the legacy industries of today with the high growth industries of tomorrow, where our region has a locational advantage. This includes cybersecurity, data analytics. We must do everything possible to ensure that these emerging clusters grow into the new job generators in the future. And thus the reason why it leads us to our discussion today. With us today, we have a great panel of experts in this particular area. And, you know, as I've mentioned, having a robust and increasing digital infrastructure requires a growing tech talent with well-versed tech skills and digital literacy. The universities, the community colleges, and technical schools along the I-64 Innovation Corridor are investing in tech talent development and training in many different ways. This is the second part of a virtual innovation spotlight series on getting Virginia's workforce ready for jobs in the growing tech sector. Last month in March, our webinar focused on boosting computer science education in the K-12 as one way to expand tech talent. If you missed that, you can go to our website and watch the video recording of that webinar. So let me introduce our panelists today. We have Brian Payne. Brian is the Vice President for Academic Affairs at Old Dominion University. He's the founding chair of the Hampton Roads Cybersecurity Education, Workforce, and Economic Development Alliance. At ODU, his administrative areas of oversight include the School of Cybersecurity and also the School of Continuing Education. He also serves as director of Coastal Virginia Center for Cyber Innovation, which is a regional node of the Commonwealth Cyber Initiative, and he's the coordinator of the university's Tech Talent Program. Also, we have Anthony Stefanidis. He's a professor of computer science at the College of William & Mary. His research has been focused on two key components: geosocial analysis, pursuing the harvesting of intelligence from open source content and social media feeds, and digital image analysis for the harvesting of geolocated or content from imagery. He received his doctorate from the Ohio State University, go Bucks. I had to put that in there because that's my alma mater as well. Prior to joining the William & Mary in 2020, he held tenure positions at George Mason University and at the University of Maine. Pritam Ghosh is professor and currently serves as the interim chair of the Department of Computer Science at Virginia Commonwealth University, where he is also an affiliate professor in the Department of Radiation and radiation oncology. He obtained his doctorate in computer science from the University of Texas at Arlington and completed a postdoctorate training in biomedical informatics at UT Southwestern Medical Center. He's held summer appointments with the wireless gaming division of Nokia Research and the systems engineering division of Nortel Research. And finally, Ann M. Kress. She's the president of Northern Virginia Community College, which is an institution serving almost 80,000 students across 6 campuses in Northern Virginia. She's been named to the Virginia Business 500 and Washington Business Journal's Power 100, and has been recognized by the Washington Business Journal as the woman who means business. Ann has earned her 2 bachelor's degrees in finance and English, a master's degree in English, and a doctorate in higher education administration, all from the University of Florida. And as we said last month, Virginia is for computer lovers. So let's dive right into it. A reminder, if you have any questions, please send those through the chat function. And now we'll turn it over to Brian. Brian, you have this.
Great. Thank you, Gregory. And I'm hoping to just talk about not just producing job seekers, but producing experienced job seekers in computer science, cybersecurity, and data science. We go to the next slide. So what I'm going to focus on are 5 areas, but going quickly on the first 3 or 4 and a little bit more time on the last, and try to do this all within the 10 minutes or so that I've been allotted. That first idea, if we go to the next slide, experience guaranteed. If I could share a story about years ago, I was at a presentation where a business representative was presenting to students, and they asked for that point of advice that he had. And he said, nobody will ever ask you your GPA after you graduate. People are going to ask you, what are your skills? Did you do an internship? What can you do for us? And that sort of resonated in terms of thinking about the need for getting our students experience. And now, just an aside point, don't tell your freshman son going to college that story, because he just might come back after a year and say, hey, Dad, remember when you said grades don't matter? And then you got to say, no, I never said grades don't matter. Said experience matters. And our Experience Guaranteed program is an initiative coming out of a SCHEV-funded project where we want to design an institution that's able to ensure that all of our students have some sort of work-based learning while they're at ODU. The next slide includes the specific language from our recently released strategic plan, where we are saying by 2027, 100% of our students will participate in internship work-based learning opportunities before they graduate. The photo there is a photo of faculty, because it's going to take a lot of work on the part of faculty to help coordinate and structure these work-based learning activities so that our tech talent students aren't just working, but they're working and learning and figuring out how to bridge that connection between what work they're doing for a business and what they're learning in their courses. Now, the next slide shows a variation, and I'm sorry, we go to the next slide. The next slide shows a variation of our efforts to apply work-based learning in a specific program, and here it's cybersecurity, where our Cyber Leaders program, what we do is we encourage our students, incentivize our students to engage in a number of activities, most of them course-related, that are designed to help develop that experience. And the more of these activities that students engage in, we'll recognize them upon graduation with different types of acknowledgments. And leaders refers to if students would engage in a leadership course. The little E refers to an e-portfolio, where we're getting our students to enhance their digital literacy and to be able to develop websites and to know what to put on one, what not to put on one, how to showcase what they know. The A is academic internships, the D is diversity, the E is entrepreneurship, R is focused on getting our students to do research and service learning. And again, we incentivize our students to engage in these. We have, if we go to the next slide, we have a ceremony where we celebrate those that have scholarships and have engaged in these sorts of activities. And it's about that recognition and that showing to the students, this is what we value as an institution. Now, the next slide takes us into our regional internship collaborative, where this also funded by SCHEV, where we bring together folks from all of our institutions in Hampton Roads. So we've got folks from Christopher Newport, from William and Mary, from Hampton, from Norfolk State, from community colleges, as well as from K-12. And we come together with the Hampton Roads Workforce Council and other business and industry representatives. We come together as a broader group monthly, and then we have these subcommittees that get together from each of those areas and just have conversations about how can we as a region better develop internship programming that benefits students, that benefits the community, and benefits the industry, so that when our students finish, they stay in our region rather than going somewhere else for their employment. The assumptions underlying our collaborative are shown on the next slide, and it's essentially about collaboration, where we often have institutions that for whatever, and disciplines that for whatever reason compete with one another. But what we promote through this collaborative is collaboration, is a recognition that all of us have something to offer in the internship space, and that if we work together and make data-driven decisions, we can better support our industry and our business community. Now, related to this is our next slide, and another variation of our efforts to collaborate. We administer the Coastal Virginia Center for Cyber Innovation, which is part of the Commonwealth Cyber Initiative. It's the coastal node of that initiative. And our focus in our region, bringing together folks from William and Mary and from Norfolk State, and essentially the same institutions as the other collaborative, is to look to see how we can take cybersecurity and integrate it with the types of industries that we're specifically focusing on in our industry within a cyber physical systems sort of domain. The next slide shows the Commonwealth Cyber Initiative overview, and just illustrates that we work closely with the central node, which is run by Erdem Topsicle and Virginia Commonwealth University along this I-64 effort. But we also work with other parts of Virginia to help to demonstrate the value of having a strong cyber research and economic development infrastructure that's coming out of our institutions. The next slide shows specifically in terms of experiential learning what we do in Commonwealth Cyber Initiative and in our Coastal Virginia Center for Cyber Innovation in particular, to prepare the talented workforce. I think most important or most interesting here is what we call our Innovate Cyber Challenge, where we bring together students from all of our institutions, most of them coming from in our region, and we present them with an industry challenge, and we say, how would you solve this challenge? And they spend the semester not working within their own institution, but working across institutions, figuring out how to solve a challenge and then presenting it out to the community as to how they would solve it. Now, one of the projects that they came up with in one of the first efforts was they said, we need to create a Coastal Virginia Cybersecurity Student Association. Most of our student clubs are on campus, and they don't promote the types of partnerships that we want to develop across our own institutions. Students saw that and said, let's do that with our students. The next slide introduces you to our School of Data Science, just approved at ODU by SCHEV. So we were approved in January. This is to coordinate our data science efforts to work with our community. You heard Gregory talking about the the huge demand and to coordinate different data science institutes that we're implementing. The next slide shows our approach to data science, where we see data science in our School of Data Science as a entirely interdisciplinary effort, and that we see data science as something that a number of different disciplines can contribute to. And our school does not exist in any college. It exists at the institution outside of all of the colleges, so that we're able to pull from all these different domains and offer a broad orientation and a broad introduction, but also specialized expertise to our students and our researchers involved in that effort. The next slide shows our Institute of Data Science, which we're creating in Virginia Beach. It's in Town Center. It'll be open sometime in the fall. We'll coordinate a data science program there, but we also will have a number of data science research labs that will be in Town Center in Virginia Beach. We're also going to move our Coastal Virginia Center for Cyber Innovation there. The whole reason we're doing this is to be closer to economic development in Virginia Beach. We're a block away from their Economic Development Center. We're in the be coordinating with businesses in Town Center, and it's connecting that economic development and innovation aspect with data science. Next slide shows our connections that we're hoping to that we are establishing with national labs in data science, both with JLab and NASA Langley, where as part of our schools, we're developing, our School of Data Science, we're developing MOUs where we create these fellows that work at JLab or NASA Langley, but also offer time to ODU, and then we're able to go after larger research and economic development initiatives with them. We also, on the next slide, shows our efforts to hire new people. This ad shows, I think it was up to 7 positions in data science we're currently searching for. We have a couple other searches that are ongoing as well. Our next slide shows the degree programs that we have a current master's program. Right now, the only degree in data science in our region that I'm aware of is at William & Mary. I'm sure Anthony will be able to tell you about that. We're proposing a bachelor's degree with different tracks that will have that interdisciplinary foundation. And then the next slide shows how we plan on going forward with this. And we're using our cybersecurity success to guide what we're doing. In cybersecurity, this slide shows we started with 11 students in cybersecurity in 2015. We've got more than 1,200 now in fall of 2022. And what we did in there, we worked with industry to build our curriculum. We've made it so it's outside the colleges and interdisciplinary. We made it so it's student focused, and that we embrace the regional partnerships across institutions. And we knew that having a standalone structure as a school of cybersecurity was necessary. So that promoted that success. And so we're going to do the same thing with data science, and look forward to working with all of you in doing that. So I can stop there and pass it on.
Great, thank you. That was fascinating, all what you have going on down at ODU. Thank you again, Brian. Anthony, you're up next.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Greg, and thank you, Mr. Duval, for sponsoring the event. If I could have the first slide, please. Yeah, so I'll talk briefly about data science at William & Mary. Next one. So just like many other efforts like that, the data science activities at William & Mary started a few years ago with our BS in data science. We have, there was a strong interest from students to start that. And if you hit once more, please. Yeah, so we developed a BS in data science that was approved by SEV 2.5 or 3 years ago, roughly. This bachelor's program includes concentrations, kind of like Brian mentioned before about ODU's plans. And they are currently the 3 that you see here. The majority of the students goes into data applications, so how you can use, applied machine learning, et cetera, in a variety of problems. And the other half is more or less split equally between algorithms. How do you develop new algorithms? How do you develop the next ChatGPT, say, and spatial data analysis, because we have a concentration of spatial data expertise in our department. If you hit the next one, please. So that program has been growing, and if you hit that once more, please. Okay, so we started in 2021. The first graduating class of data science was 8 students. Currently, we're planning to graduate 48 in the next month. So this is an example of the tremendous interest from students for that, which of course is driven by the great interest about anything data science related in the work space. The number of credit hours has grown, the number of students is growing. We have 575 students who take some data science classes with us, 38 courses that are being offered. So there is substantial growth over there. If you hit once more, please. So in 2022, we have established a data science unit that currently operates as a standalone unit, but within computer science. If you hit it once more, please, you will see that it comprises currently 11 faculty members. We're in the process of hiring 3 or 4 more for next year. So next year, we're going to be roughly 15 people who are going to be housed within data science at William and Mary. And if you hit once more, and we have, of course, the number of students who are graduating with this program. So it's a program that has started at the undergraduate level. And if you hit once more, please, Greg. But this is also, and once more, please. Sorry, this is going to be tricky for you. So we have data science often is a science that also is a science of networks, but there is also a data science network within campus. So you see all these other different disciplines that are extremely interested in the program, and the arrows there currently are pointing outwards in the sense of communicating the fact that in our particular approach to data science, we have a data science core constituency, and they are, working, pushing out some data science principles into computer science, math, physics, all the way if you go, if you go around the circle to programs that, sometimes you may consider to be less connected with data science, like philosophy or languages, but also law and business. So there is tremendous interest for anything data science within campus. If you hit it once more, please, Greg. And currently we're operating in that model. Sometimes in other schools you will find across the country, you will see that often data science is built by bringing other expertise into the domains of data science. But in our case, we have also the core capability in data science. If you hit once more, we have some collaboration with Jefferson Lab, and we are all hoping that it will become bigger as Jefferson Lab grows as well. And if you hit once or twice more, Greg, as well. And we are in the process of collaborating with outside partners. We're doing some work with the Virginia Department of Health. We're looking for other opportunities as well. Once more, I think we'll get the last orange bullet there. And then once more, we'll get to the next one. As I mentioned before, we are, in the science of networks is also about, networking within campus. The interest is, if you hit once more, is great from our student body. So if you hit it once more, please, you can see that in 2021, we had 24 students who are taking DS as a second major. So these are students who had their first major in disciplines that you see there: accounting, anthropology, biology, computers, economics, financial, etc. All of these disciplines, and they care about that, which I think is a manifestation of the fact that they would like to go in the business, in work in the government, say, but they recognize that they need the skill sets that data science brings for them to be successful there. If you hit twice more, please, and if you look at that as a minor, this is becoming even much more more broad. So you see that the interest across our communities is great from a number of different disciplines for data science. Once more, please. Just to look at what our students are doing. These are students who graduated last year, what they were doing right now. So you see that we actually train the next generation that goes and joins MITRE, for example, to foster innovation in research at the scale of government, say, all the way to Tina Chen, who joined Google. If you look at the top, we have Laura Mills there, fourth from left. Laura actually finished last year with her degree. She finished this year a master's at Cambridge, and now she's joining SpaceX, the one successful operation of Elon Musk, apparently. So we have a fairly broad workforce footprint, and I'm sure that our partners in the region will have a similar footprint as well. Lots of business opportunities and consulting and everything. So there is tremendous interest outside of the university as well. If you hit once more, please. In terms of the academic portfolio, what you see on the left is what we currently have, and what you see on the right is the things that we're working on. We currently have this very successful BS in data science. We have a graduate certificate in data and computer science that we developed primarily to help some workforce needs in the area and beyond, so that we can actually, often what happens is that you see that you have people who have been working for a while actually in a company, and at the time that they started their formal education, data science was still at a quasi-nascent stage, and they would like to be reacquainted with some of the principles there. So we have designed a graduate certificate that does that quite well, and we have a PhD track as well as part of our applied sciences PhD. The plans that we have is to develop new minors and majors, primarily to address the interest across campus. So, for example, we try to work on a new digital humanities initiative and cultural data analytics. So there is a variety of interest over there. We are considering a BA in data science, but we want to first understand what exactly the ramifications of that would be in terms of workforce opportunities for our students. We have plans for an MS in data science, building upon the certificate, and of course, there is a plan to develop a dedicated PhD in data science, even though this is not a pressing need given that we have a current track. If you hit once more, please, Greg. In terms of the broad research themes that are prevalent in the data science activities here at William and Mary, issues that relate to data and society, all the way from how information is disseminated and how people participate in this in this nexus of physical and cyberspace, and how they proceed in there is of great interest to us. We're looking at data science in large-scale experiments. We have a connection with Jefferson Lab. We have connections, active grants with a variety of other organizations like DHS. We're looking at NASA, et cetera. So we're looking at how data science can actually facilitate some of these experiments. We're looking at issues like data and location, because this is of great interest to us. As I mentioned before, we have a particular track that is about geospatial locations in there. And of course, the issue of public health is of great interest, because data has the ability to actually allow us to come up with better campaigns, understand better how different various diseases spread, how, for example, digital divides may affect the way that different communities are informed about what is happening in the region, etc. If you hit once more, please, Greg. We undertake a number of workforce-related activities. We have some activities that are, about outreach to MSIs in the region, trying to make it more inclusive, more or less, because data, just like computer science, has an issue of inclusion. It tends to be that the majority of, the number of minorities who are taking courses and getting degrees in data science is clearly much smaller than it should be. The same thing applies to women as well, and that's why we have some initiatives about women in data science. And then, of course, we also try to work at training for professionals and how we can actually address the needs of the workforce that are not only of whom they will be hired next year, but also how about the people that they have already hired, and they need to evolve as their portfolio is evolving as well. One more, please. As far as we are concerned, the outlook is fairly bright in data science, right? And we're trying to approach data as a driver for a new global economy. It's not just how we can use data science to address the needs of the present economy in the region. That's, of course, a priority, but that's not the only priority. I think the argument is that data will drive innovation. It will drive a new type of an economy. And we feel that given our particular region here, data is going to be an agent of change for the region. We feel very strongly that we need to work together. We have some amazing institutions in the area with all the way from, VCU at the top and going down to ODU in the Norfolk, Virginia Beach area. And of course, we also have JLab in the middle of all of that could actually have a transformative effect on the activities that we undertake. So we feel extremely strongly that, a collaborative approach among our institutions will benefit the region greatly. I think it will align quite well with the opportunities that are being outlined for a while now from the RVA 757 initiative. This is a tremendous job that you guys are doing there, and we're very grateful for that, because we need to move forward, right? And as we move forward, we need to make sure that we all move forward together. And I think data can have an equalizing effect from a social point of view, and we are very keen to actually be part of that. If you hit once more, so I'm leaving you with that, which is a visualization of what data science is at William and Mary. This is a painting that was generated by DALL-E. which is the AI system that is responsible for ChatGPT and for making everybody's life miserable when we try to grade papers now. But nevertheless, this is a painting of William and Mary by Data Science Program that captures, the past and our future as well, right? So with that, thank you so very much for the time and the opportunity. I will have to leave shortly, so I don't know if there are any questions. You can ask now, I guess, or you can send me an email. I would be very glad to connect with all of you.
Anthony, thank you very much. It was fascinating, and I love this last picture that was produced and stuff. And thanks for the shout out for our initiative as well.
Absolutely, thank you.
So now we'll go on to Pritam. He is from Virginia Commonwealth University.
Thank you so much, Greg, and thank you, Mr. Duval, for sponsoring this event, and a very good afternoon to everyone in attendance. So I'll talk briefly about computer science and the kind of programs that we have, data science, cybersecurity. This has been mentioned so many times by our esteemed colleagues. So if you could just move forward, Greg. VCU, computer science, takes a more holistic approach over here, I would say, that we have 3 pillars in our undergraduate program, for example. So cybersecurity, data science, of course, those are 2 concentration areas. But then software engineering is not neglected as well, because that's another huge area for employment at this point, specifically if you consider the Richmond area. So what we have seen in graduating students from VCU computer science, software engineering related jobs still ranks the topmost. And in terms of median pay, software engineering jobs still give you the best pay, at least in the Richmond area. Now, considering that, what we have also seen is we are seeing a very different trend in our students right now. So we have a concentration in cybersecurity, data science, and software engineering. Many students prefer to basically take courses in all these 3 areas. So they want to have a broader background that makes them more competitive in the employment market. Now, I don't quite know what the future of that kind of an interdisciplinary training would be. We have not quite worked on some of the details of what will be a true interdisciplinary data science or cybersecurity, software engineering kind of a program would be, where students would have good training in each of these 3 focus areas. But what we are seeing in terms of the trend right now, we have traditional data science training, traditional cybersecurity training, and software engineering training. Our top students who are getting placed at Google and Netflix and the top schools, they tend to take courses from each of these 3 buckets, which is a very different kind of a perspective over here. Now, we have some strong cybersecurity related accreditations. For example, we are National NSA designated Center for Academic Excellence both in cyber research and cyber education. And we are just flaunting our 2 certificates over here. We also have a DoD Cybercrime Center agreement between the DoD and VCU. So these are education and research opportunities on digital forensics. VCU Computer Science is also a member of the US Cybercom Academic Engagement Network. So just to give you a feel that cyber-related education and research is not just very academic here at VCU. We do work very closely with the Department of Defense, with NSA, with FBI as well. And then our graduate programs, we have a traditional master's program with specializations in data science and cybersecurity. We have a traditional PhD program, but then the 2 programs that are getting a lot of traction right now are our post-baccalaureate certificate programs. So we have a post-baccalaureate certificate in cybersecurity and one in data science. So these are primarily for students, let's say, with engineering backgrounds who want to now specialize in cybersecurity and specialize in data science areas. And we are seeing a lot of interest in something like this, because if you look at the currently working professionals in the Richmond area, very few of them have been trained in traditional cyber or data science related degrees. So these are mostly software engineering related or computer science related degrees that they have had in their prior training. So these are the types of students who would want to go for these post-baccalaureate certificates in cybersecurity and data science. So with that, if we can move forward, please, Greg. Yeah, so VCU, one of the pillars that we push for is diversity. So the diversity numbers that I have over here is mostly for the College of Engineering and not just concentrated to computer science. But you'll see that we at engineering, we actually promote student diversity a lot. Our Hispanic, Latinx student population have grown 900%, and we are the #1 Virginia engineering school in terms of Hispanic graduates. So much so that VCU has been recently named a minority serving institution, an MSI. And you would see that our trends in terms of numbers, undergraduate student numbers have been steadily growing, not as much as ODU, not as much as some of the other schools, but we tend to keep our class sizes small. So we have a very good student to faculty ratio. From that perspective, our resources are excellent as well. So students get much better hands-on training in our program. So we have 26 faculty members attending to about 700 odd undergraduate students. We have about close to 100 graduate students at this point of time. We do organize quite a few events that brings in students from all over the country. For example, RamHacks is a major league hackathon series that we organize here at VCU, computer science. We have had students coming in all the way from California to compete in the hackathon that VCU organizes. This basically helps a lot in terms of both visibility of the VCU computer science program nationally, if you will. We also have an NSA-funded Gen Cyber boot camp. So this is a summer boot camp specifically targeted towards middle and high school students to get them up and running on cybersecurity related education. We have a cyber forensics experiential learning program, mostly concentrated towards digital forensics area. This is a collaboration with Virginia State Police, and this has been funded by the CCI, the CCI initiative from Virginia. And then we organize several programming competitions for high school teams and so on. So let's move forward, Greg. Yeah, so our students are our main focus areas. So we do invest, the department invests a lot in several student organizations. So you'll see ACM Comparative Coding Club. This is, so in today's world of data science and cybersecurity, ACM Comparative Coding Club still holds its importance right now, because this is one of the most challenging programming competitions for computer science students, and our students have been faring very, very well in these coding competitions. We have women in cybersecurity and the general cybersecurity clubs over here. We have software development, which is actually a very popular area. As I was saying, software engineering is not going anywhere. It actually is maybe more important right now in terms of jobs in the Richmond area. WebRAMs, website development. So there are a lot of web related companies here in the Richmond area. So that club is very popular. We have a Google Developer Student Club with funding from Google coming in. So students have been actively working with practitioners at Google, professionals at Google over there. We have a data science club, and we have a Linux users group as well. So let's move forward, please. And generally faculty research, I'll not spend much time over here. So our faculty, we have 26 faculty members, 20 of them are research active, and we have had funding from a variety of sources, federal sources. Primarily, we have had funding from industry as well, Google and all. And this is just a snapshot. You saw all the other funding related information from NSA and CCI and so on and so forth. So it's just a snapshot of some of the other funding sources that we have not covered. If you could move forward, please, Greg. Yeah. So one of the primary programs that I would like to highlight is the fundamentals of computing. And that's where VCU computer science is slightly different from the rest of the Virginia colleges. So this is the Computing for All initiative that we have had. So fundamentals in computing is fully online certificate for students with no STEM background. Now, we have not marketed this program as much to the greater Washington, DC belt, but if you just see the interest of students inside VCU, College of Engineering has got about, let's say, 70 odd students over there, but Humanities and Sciences, School of Business, School of Arts, and University College. So these are the primary players. So these are students having a major, doing a major in business, humanities and sciences, arts, and so on and so forth. They are trying to get this digital generalist credential, we call it, which is a fundamental certificate that they are getting through this Fundamentals in Computing program. So if you could move forward over here. So this Fundamentals in Computing program is also connected to the Capital CoLab initiative of the state. So Capital CoLab, as some of you may know already, so this is connecting employers in this greater Washington area belt with students who are trained in digital and tech related backgrounds. So if we could move forward, so we have a slide on the types of companies which are connected with the Capital CoLab initiative. So students who are graduating from our Fundamentals in Computing program, they're basically getting connected to the employers in this region. The Capital CoLab initiative already has got several of these companies associated with them. Internships and job options are opened to all these students who are getting the digital generalist credential through this initiative. So moving forward, so I have the last two slides. So CCI has already been mentioned before. So Virginia VCU is serving as the central node of CCI. As you would know, George Mason is the northern node, and then Virginia Tech over at Southwest Virginia, and then ODU over at Coastal Virginia node. So a lot of initiatives are going on in cybersecurity research and education, with VCU being the central Virginia node over here. And one last slide that I have is the Commonwealth Cloud Computing Center. So we talked about the data science initiatives in ODU and William and Mary and all these other places. What we are investing here at VCU, and this is obviously with support from the state, is a cloud computing platform. And Greg showed some of the two data centers that we have over here in Henrico County. The QTS would likely be the one. We are still going through the initial planning of setting up this cloud computing center over here. So this is a significant resource investment from the Virginia government, from the Virginia state, and we are trying to set up a public-private cloud computing platform over here. So we have folks from College of Engineering involved, industry involved in setting up this data center. Now this will not just serve in terms of data science education, but data science research, and also connecting with local companies here in the Virginia area, right? So this will be a major platform that we would like to promote, not just for education, but also in terms of our connections with possible employers. So the leadership structure is currently going through some changes over here, and then we are still in the process of setting up this entire platform. So it takes time, as you can understand, for this such a major initiative. But our data science education, what we want to do is make it more hands-on. So having our own cloud platform this way will obviously help push that forward. Of course, this is a Virginia initiative, so VCU is actually trying to set this infrastructure up. But all the other Virginia universities will obviously be involved in joint programs moving forward. With that, I'll stop. And thank you so much for your attention.
Great, thank you, Dan. That was very interesting. All what is happening here in the Richmond area. And I will turn it over to you now.
Sure, and I know that we're running a little short on time, so I'm going to talk really quickly. If you want to go to the next slide, well, I just I want to thank you, Greg. I want to thank today's sponsors, and I definitely want to thank the Vice Chair of the Virginia Community College System Board, Peggy Lane, who I know is on this Zoom as well, for the invitation to speak here today. On behalf of all of Virginia's community colleges, not just Nova, I hope everyone does know that there are 23 Virginia community colleges that enroll close to 300,000 students across the entire Commonwealth, including a number of extraordinary institutions within the Hampton Roads and Richmond area. So if you want to go to the next slide, what the community colleges really do is respond, right? And so when you look at the slide, I've just sort of aggregated a lot of headlines, including one that came out recently around Amazon's plans to launch a $35 billion data center expansion in Virginia, which goes directly to some of Greg's comments at the very beginning. And certainly Virginia's community colleges are coming together to respond to that as well. We work within a strategic plan called Opportunity 2027, which has an overarching goal of equity and student outcomes. But I want to drill down to one of the sub goals within that plan, which is that we are being asked to ensure that we provide all students with the knowledge, the skills, the credentials, and the degrees that are necessary to thrive in new and emerging 21st century careers that really speak to the future of work. And that's what the point of today's discussion is, right? All institutions of higher education across the Commonwealth are engaged in this enterprise. But just to give you a sense of how Virginia's community colleges are responding, if you want to go to the next slide, when you look across the entire system over the past 5 years, and I want to make sure I get this data exactly right, Virginia's community colleges have graduated over 7,000 students in IT and computer science and data science areas. I want to say that again. Over the last 5 years, Virginia's community colleges, all 23 of us, have graduated over 7,000 students in computer science, data science, and IT areas. This is incredibly important because when you look at data around retention of students in Virginia, close to 85% of the graduates from Virginia's community colleges, whether they're in transfer programs or workforce programs, will stay in the state, right? So this is an investment that the Commonwealth makes in all regions because our students stay in our regions. When we look at where our students transfer, over 90% of them will transfer to a Virginia public university, including the fine institutions who have been on the Zoom today. So that is part of our response to the needs, whether they're in the tech sector or other sectors. But as you can see in that huge number, over 7,000, the response has been incredible. Just to give you a sense, over those 5 years, that has been a 50% increase in the number of students who have completed with a degree in a data science field as defined by SCHEV. Right, to give you a sense, just in the last year, when you look at all four-year public institutions and you really sort of move that sense of data science into those directly related programs, last year there were about 2,800 graduates from all Virginia publics in those four-year degrees. From the Virginia community colleges, there were over 1,700, right? So many of those students are transferring directly into the programs that you heard about today. And in fact, over the past 5 years, there's been a 75% increase in the number of community college students who are in these transfer computer science pathways, right? So our students are getting the same message that students across the state at the universities are getting, which is that this is where the future of the economy is. I think that's incredibly important to put out there because part of what the Virginia community colleges are looking at now under our new chancellor, David Duray, who just started yesterday, right? Today is Tuesday or Wednesday. So he started on Monday, is Hire Virginia, right? It's a commitment by Virginia's community colleges to train more than 80,000 individuals for these in-demand careers. Most of them are in this information economy. So know that Virginia's community colleges are responding across the entire Commonwealth. If you want to go to the next slide. In addition to traditional transfer programs, I wanted to highlight two programs that are making a huge difference in the ability to produce an IT or computer science or data science workforce. The first is Fast Forward. It's a unique program to Virginia, and in fact, it's a national model, something Virginia can be incredibly proud of. And it is a way of providing industry-recognized credentials to typically non-traditional students, students who otherwise might not imagine themselves ever going to a four-year degree or even completing an associate's, but they can complete within 4 months or less an IT certification in areas like the full suite of CompTIA, various certifications, computer entry-level, Cisco certifications, information security, some ethical hacking, project management professional. All of these are hot in demand in our state, and students who enter into these programs that typically last 4 months or less will see an average wage increase of 23%. These are programs that are offered at in the IT space at 9 community colleges across Virginia, representing pretty much every region, including a good cluster right in the region that RVA is looking at, Virginia Peninsula, Tidewater, Brightpoint, and J. Sargent Reynolds are some of the top producers in your region. So Fast Forward is innovative because the state really does pick up 2/3 of the cost of this non-credit instruction. And many of the institutions, including Nova, will also cover the cost of actually earning that certification, which is what will help somebody connect to the IT career of their future. Next slide. The other tool that we've got in our toolbox is G3. So get skilled, get a job, and get ahead is what those 3 Gs are. It is a workforce scholarship program from the Commonwealth of Virginia that's available for direct to career pathway college associate degree programs. So it's available for IT courses and training that would lead to industry credentials in the exact fields we're talking about. This is an incredible boon to students because what the state is saying is if you go into these areas, whereas we could see from the data presented by Greg at the very beginning, that there's high demand, the state is going to go ahead and give you that tuition grant, and potentially, even if you're low income, the ability to qualify for wraparound services dollars to ensure that you stay in school. So one of these students is pictured on your screen. She's a student at Brightpoint right there in the Richmond area, and her name's Carrie. And so Carrie was a student who struggled to pay for college. She stopped in and out. She worked part-time jobs that were computer related, for example, the Geek Squad at Best Buy, because she really found her passion in working with computers, but she simply couldn't pay to get a degree. Because of the funding through G3, that scholarship money, Carrie's been able to go to Brightpoint, get her degree in cybersecurity, and move forward. She has a dream of working for Amazon or Microsoft, but know that Carrie is committed to staying in the region and also to recruiting other students for this program. So she's also an active recruiter, helping more students to find themselves in the IT space. So if you think about that big picture, and I've got some NOVA data I can share, but Greg, I don't know if you want me just to pause right now, but that big picture is Virginia's community colleges are helping to educate students in transfer programs, right? A 75% increase over the last 5 years, helping to educate students across the IT and data science space, a 50% increase in graduates in those areas in associate degree pathways, and then helping to educate the industry recognized credential workforce that's so critical, not just to skill, but to reskill and to upskill. And so I'll pause and listen to see if we got a few more minutes.
Great, well, thank you. And that was fascinating information. And I didn't realize 7,000, that's a lot.
Yeah.
Of people. I think because the time of the day, I think we're gonna forego any questions, but let me just briefly let everybody know, because I don't want to keep people too long. We try to keep these to an hour, and I really appreciate everyone's participation today. Let me just let you know that, again, today's session will be on our YouTube channel and also on our website as well. You can go to our website under that particular program, and you'll be able to get the recording version of this webinar today. Also, if you want to check out anything on our Global Internet Hub, remember our globalinternethub.org website's available. Next month on May the 3rd, from noon to 1 is our next Innovation Spotlight, which will be on what's happening at LifeNet Health down in Virginia Beach. They're making a lot of life-changing innovation that's taking place down there. So we will have that as our next Innovation Spotlight next month. And again, if there's anything you participate, follow us, tell other people about it, suggest topics, invite us to brief your business organizations. That would be great. Finally, I want to thank Virginia Natural Gas again for sponsoring today's webinar. We really do appreciate it. And thank to all of you for participating in today's webinar. Remember, next month, Wednesday, May 3rd, will be the next one. Thank you again for participating. We'll see you later. And thanks again to all of our speakers today. I'm sorry we didn't have time for questions, but if you have questions for anybody, you can either reach out to me and I can forward it on to them, or reach out to them directly to them. Thank you again for participating today.